Now, this is a place that could keep my interest for a spell. You'll want to check under Lithis for puddles. Unless he's learned to stop wetting his pants by now.
Our first Grand Hero Battle of 2024, the second of Book 8, and the last of Year 7 will be Perne. It's been 2 years since our last Dagger Hero Grail unit, and the one before that was more than 3 years ago, so not the most common weapon type if you want to use those Grails. On the demote side, Patty was a somewhat recent addition with her excellent stat spread. Well, Perne's got good stats and a fun weapon. He's a Cutlass Infantry Dagger. For stats, Perne has 44 HP, 43 attack, 45 speed, 34 defense, and 21 res. He has an attack super boon and is only a step behind Kath and Patty in terms of speed among free-to-play daggers. Perne will have the highest attack though. Good offensive stats for a free unit, although res is on the lower side. For his weapon, Perne has the Blade Royale, which is most likely a reference to Thracia's Kingsword. This is a 9 might dagger that grants plus 3 speed. At start of turn, if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants plus 6 second speed and the neutralize penalties on unit during combat status to Perne and those allies for 1 turn. If Perne initiates combat, he gets brave attacks. If he initiates or is near an ally, gain plus 5 to all stats and gain breath type cooldown reduction. Blade Royale is an incredible free-to-play weapon. There are no inheritable Brave daggers, so Perne will be very unique. Not only does he get Brave attacks, but breath type cooldown for his 1-2 punch. That alone would already be cool, but then Perne also gives team support, plus 6 second speed field boost and the neutralize stat penalties status. Neutralizing all stat penalties is super strong, especially when you got units like Dual Sanaki who prey on debuffs. This is a fairly rare status. Garrixifying has this, and well, technically Peony's Remix Dance does grant it. Great support ability, just keep it away from Grand Strategy or Unity units. If you want to add up all the stat boost from Blade Royale, Perne gets plus 11 attack and plus 14 speed from this weapon alone, already his best stats and great for a quad attacking unit. Blade Royale is really solid, so much that it's basically the same as a legendary unit's weapon. Legendary Shez's Asura Blades has identical abilities, although Shez's are more personal and kinda just work all the time. From a glance though, it looks like Blade Royale kinda just dunks on this legendary weapon, which is barely a year old. However, we know that Shez has Swift Slice, which is bonkers on its own. Regardless, this is just a fun comparison coming from a free unit. For the rest of his base kit, Perne has Dragon Fang. He can charge that up in 2 hits, but you got a quad to actually proc it. Luckily, Perne will come with no follow-up 3. If he outspeeds, he doubles guaranteed and prevents any free follow-up skills on the enemy. Like Lumera, they ain't giving this skill to a quote-unquote bad Grail unit. The devs are going to make you choose between using Perne and Fodder. For those that merged up Lumera, Perne could be a cheaper source of no follow-up if you need it, unless you also are going to merge him up though. Last, to help with his field boss support, Perne has Drive Speed 2 for basic in-combat boss. This is about as solid as it gets for a free-to-play base kit. You got a fast Brave attacker with no follow-up 2 quad. You can keep that for any budget build. For those that want to merge up Perne, he's going to get plus 1 HP, attack, and speed for the nature. However, for a Brave attacker, an attack super boon is juicy, and of course, more speed doesn't hurt either. For some free-to-play comparisons, there are only 2 other infantry dagger units obtainable with heroic grails, Gangrel and Kronya. They got decent speed, but if you want attack, well, Perne is our new highest attack free-to-play dagger unit, so yeah. Gangrel and Kronya will have higher HP and res stats to work with when fully invested, less defense though. If you want offensive stats, Perne is on top, plus he has a brave weapon. Kronya has her own Vantage niche with her weapon, and Gangrel is actually up for a refine very soon. If we go in order, next is Ashnard and then Gangrel, so maybe wait and see what the 11 dagger will get. For Demo 3 to 4 star dagger units, we have a lot more to choose from. The most recent addition is Laura on the current banner, but she's a dancer. However, with her addition, we now have one of each color dagger as a demo. The main competitor to Perne stat-wise is Patty. She's also Gen 8 and only has slightly less attack. Thanks to speed super boons, Patty and Cap technically are faster than Perne. With max Dragonflowers and the resplendent stats, Salt has 44 attack like Perne, but he will lack an attack super boon. Pretty respectable stats from Salt though if you did max them out. In terms of speed, there are some other decently fast units like Comb or Legault, but obviously Perne has more firepower and no one can do anything like Blade Royale. Top tier stats and a top tier weapon will definitely make Perne stand out for a good while. For general playstyle, Perne provides team support via attack and speed field balls and that neutralize stat debuff status. He needs to be near his team each turn for this to happen and to receive the same benefits. Drive Speed 2 offers in-combat buffs to stack with the field buffs. If you want, you could run something like Defense Link, that's going to let Perne self-buff and buff an ally with full +6 field buffs. For combat though, Perne wants to initiate for his brave attacks. He has lots of speed, and with no follow-up, he guarantees quad attacks if he outspeeds. Blade Royale also comes with breath type cooldown, meaning extra special charge every attack. Perne can charge Dragon Fang in 2 hits, but if you want faster specials, he can charge and proc Moonbow or Glimmer in 2 hits. For safer quad attacks, Wind Sweep can be used if you put no follow-up in the Sacred Seal slot. You can also use Desperation since we got no follow. Blade Royale has no HP conditions, so Desperation and Fury builds are totally fine. Maybe break out the old Brazen skills. For some other C skills, unfortunately, Defense 03 is not easy to get. You can run the 2 Defense Wave skills if you want extra defensive stats. If you want to have Defense Bust for a teammate, sadly, Defense Gap is also not easy to get. I suppose you can run Rally skills to fill out those last 2 field buffs as well. For premium options on the topic of Rally skills, you could add Ruse to the support perks of Blade Royale. Perne won't get extra actions like Ninja Heather though. For some other support skills, Perne's slightly higher base HP could work with Infantry Pulse. Since Tina brings the tier 4 back, it's worth mentioning since it basically acts like times Pulse 3 for Perne himself. With either Pulse, you could get Luna down to 2 cooldown for that 1-2 proc thanks to Blade Royale. If you want, add Quicken Pulse and now Perne can proc Lethality in 2 hits. Might be worth the Sacred Seal slot because while quad attacking is fun and Perne can definitely do it, if you don't have Desperation or Sweep effects, you probably are going to have to tank a counterattack. Percent damage reduction from Remote Sparrow or Fleeting Echo can help with this, but if a unit survives brave hits, higher chance they retaliate with a special. You can try to use Guard, but with 2 brave hits, that's not going to stop tanks with Breath type cooldown themselves and the common slaying Bonfire type builds. Tempo 4 could work with this, since it does have no special charge. However, we want to use the no guard portion with the breath type cooldown and the important partial DR piercing effect. Hexblade or Finish 4 can add even more damage output. If you forgo any pulse effects, honestly Special Spiral 4 could work. If Perne can get lethality off the first time, he's going to bring him back down to 2 cooldown, and his brave hits with breath type cooldown will let him spam the special every fight after. Same idea for AoE specials, however the full or the DR piercing part of Special Spiral 4 is going to be wasted. Now for general enemy phasing, Perne's not going to have brave attacks, but he does retain the cooldown if near his allies. This could let him fire back things like Luna if you were to run a pulse skill, or even lethality in our double pulse build. Perne doesn't have percent DR and his res isn't crazy, but hey, if he can survive a hit, you got a chance to fire back with something. Let's now talk about no follow-up because Perne has multiple options if you want it. One is the no follow-up for B skill. Obviously, the 50% DR piercing is amazing for a brave weapon. However, Tempo 4 does the same, and no guard gives some consistency to specials. Tempo is only in the B slot. Meanwhile, we got the no follow-up Sacred Seal, and recently, Infantry no follow 4. For one, that C skill gives Perne more support for his team. However, the tier 4 now gives the user no follow-up as well, and it tacks on the warp status too. Actually pretty good because if you wanted full buffing, there is no Defense Oath for it just yet. With Infantry no follow 4, now your Sacred Seal is open, and the B slot can be used with say Desperation 4, Wind or Water Sweep, pure damage skills like Assassin Strike or low speed in defense, Devour Piercing via Tempo 4 or Special Spiral 4. A lot of fun stuff, all with good synergy for a brave weapon. As an infantry unit, Perne's in a good spot for probably more fun future skills as well. You got a lot of options, although I do think stuff like damage reduction piercing is kinda just too important to pass up on nowadays. So, should you 5-star Perne? Stat-wise, he's going to top the free-to-play Dagger class in terms of attack with that super boom. He then is 1 point on the top in terms of speed. With slightly above average base HP, Perne could make use of certain support skills, and he does have decent defense coming from a Dagger unit. This will come at the cost of a low resistance stat though. Besides top tier offensive stats, Perne has a unique weapon, the Blade Royale. It grants attack and speed field buffs and the rare neutralize all stat debuff status to nearby allies. That's great, but Blade Royale is also a brave dagger with built-in breath type cooldown. There's no inheritable brave dagger weapons, so literally one of a kind for a non 5-star. We then saw that technically, Blade Royale is on par or maybe even better than a Legendary Hero's weapon, and that's not like a 5-year-old Legendary, it's like a unit that was barely a year old. Realistically speaking, it is obvious that Legendary Shez's assorted blades are balanced around her unique Swift Slice for good reason. However, I still think you could easily call Blade Royale a weapon a 5-star banner unit could have. Brave attacks are one of the few standout traits non-arcane inheritables can get. There is no inheritable Brave Daggers, so on the free-to-play side, Perne won't have that niche. That's not even including the whole team support aspect. This is starting to become a trend where these non-5-star unique weapons are getting decent combat effects and then tack on a team support aspect. Valador has his debuffs, Fargus gives warping with buffs, Arian has buffs with charge for flyers. The recent refine for Mini Minerva is field buffs with breath type cooldown support. Very interesting trend. These free-to-play units may not have the raw combat power of the gacha units, but if they can buff up the team, then that brings other value. I was just lamenting that our brand new Dagger Demo Dancer doesn't really have a proper support inheritable to choose from. Meanwhile, a guy with a brave weapon is handing out field pulse and a rare status. Funny how things turn out. That's all I got to say about Perne. Very impressive. Book 8's Heroic Grow units are pretty dang good so far. Hopefully that continues. Let me know your thoughts on our new Heroic Grow units. Next up, we're taking a look at this month's new Ephemeral Combat Manuals. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.